Congratulations, you bought an obscure 90s car and now you're faced with a decision. How should you modify it? Like, this is a rare car. You can't just go to a car meet and see one of these things rolling around in showroom condition. You have a unicorn. Nobody has seen your car's model in this good of shape. Should you try and preserve the car, keeping everything as, the manufacturer intended? Should you put some wheels and a cool front bumper on? Or should you just modify it to the point where people ask what the stock model was? Unfortunately, this is the exact problem I'm facing. For those who don't know, I own a Lexus SC300. And while that may sound unimpressive to you, let me explain. The first generation Lexus SC, well, in America, is, simply put, a Mark IV Toyota Supra in a tuxedo. The chassis of this car served as the basis when designing the Mark IV Supra platform. Like, the part sharing is kind of insane. You can, bolt up the rear subframe. Or so I'm told, I don't know. On top of that, my car is a manual transmission, putting it in the very small club of 3,883 total SC300s sold with a manual transmission that was, by the way, powered by a 2JZ. Did I mention this thing is rear-wheel drive? This thing is the 90s Toyota sports car we all forgot about. Now, from the moment I got the car, I kind of knew what I was eventually going to do with it. I had the new car thoughts of, oh, it's perfect, I don't need to change anything about it. And I still love, the stock car. But at the end of the day, I love cars because of how you can modify them. You can, put a big turbo in them and do big vroom vrooms in an old car that makes funny spoolie noises and scare random guys in their Subarus. I mean, if modifying cars is what you love as a car enthusiast, a manual 2J powered rear-wheel drive sports car is, one of the best platforms to do said activities in. And this leads me to the crux of why I made this video. The haters. Now, for the record, these quote-unquote haters in my life are some of my best buds in the car community, and I'm not trying to bash on them, but I think everyone can agree that we, as friends, do not agree on the topic of modifying my car. My friends think it's a terrible idea. I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's not perfect. It's got paint imperfections on the hood, a rear quarter panel that was repainted at some point, and cosmetic and minor mechanical repairs that have the vibe of old people who really didn't care about resale value. This car is, all in all pretty pristine, and I understand the reasoning to keep the car stock. It's fun, quirky, and unique, and you always hold some eyeballs at a car meet, except it's only, 2 people, so, sort of, and, it's a relatively clean example, so I get it. Now, with all that in mind, I will attempt to explain to you, dear viewer, why I think it is, dare I say, good for you to absolutely ruin your perfectly good car. Okay, so first up, actually returning to the fact that there will always be haters, and I'm not talking my friends that are fake haters, but actual haters, people that are mean to you and stuff. But it doesn't matter if you're keeping your car stock or doing some 200-mile-an-hour highway sender, someone's gonna be upset. One person will say you should twin turbo Huracan, one person says you shouldn't, cause you gotta keep it clean, and it's gonna happen. It's inevitable.
I am inevitable.
In the age of the internet and lack of self-discipline, everyone is trying to chip in on what you should do. Forget it's your car, some random person who has an overinflated ego thinks they know better. Take the Stradman for example. As of writing this video, he's trying to sell his Lamborghini Countach so he can get some money to finish his house, and his comment section has been blowing up with people who are begging him to keep the Countach so it'll appreciate in value and then he can sell it for more. I get it. The car will be worth more in the future, and heck, James will already be able to sell it for more than what he got it for, but these people aren't James, and for James, finishing his house matters more than squatting on some really old Lamborghini that he can't even drive in the hopes that it'll get more valuable. And sometimes, that's what we've got to learn as we grow up. Priorities change, we change, and it's okay if nobody understands your choices in this department because they're not you. Next up is the age-old philosophy that a lot of us have unfortunately forgotten, and it also enforces my first comment, and it's this. Who cares? Seriously, why should you care about what other people think you should do with, your car? It's your car. Seriously, dude. So what if a random 12-year-old thinks you should lock insert car here in a garage for the 5 people who still think your 40-year-old car is still worth talking about? It's just kind of dumb. I feel like we've started caring too much about other people's opinions with our obsession with internet likes and stuff, but the good news is that we don't have to care. That's the nice thing about owning a car. It's ours. We don't need, and we shouldn't try to appease other people for what is ultimately our property. Now, for the record, just side note, some concern about your self-presentation is important, because like without that, we'd just be wearing like sweatpants to like a job interview, and like that just doesn't go well. Like, so just there's a balance in all things, right? And now for my last point, and frankly I think it's the most important, and it's that your car will not last forever. It's just not. If you don't drive it now, nobody might drive it later. Every car is destined for one of two places. Option 1, get stuck in a garage never to be seen again, and option 2 is just to get driven into the ground or left to rot in a field somewhere if it doesn't get crushed first. And for old Japanese cars like mine, the timer's ticking, boy. Like, OEM parts are expensive, if not impossible to find. So with that in mind, why should we shelter our car in a garage, preventing it, from like driving before its inevitable destruction? That seems like a disservice. Why shouldn't we tune and boost the crap out of our car before retiring it to an honorable grave that could say it did it all, right? We should be experiencing what the car has to offer, like not preserving it for some hypothetical future owner. Like, what's the fun if you never used it? In the words of 458 Destroyer, which I think summarizes this perfectly, driven, not imprisoned. I mean, if you made it this far, I'm kind of impressed, honestly. Like, this is like a super like experimental video, and frankly, I don't even know if the script was like any good at all. But I mean, like, if you did make it this far, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. I hate to be that guy, but like, I'd appreciate it, please. But yeah, I'm probably gonna do more videos like this, and I'd love your feedback. And just if you want to like hang out and like actually watch me use my old car before it explodes. But yeah, if you have any thoughts on anything I should change, like comment and like let me know, and I'll listen to feedback. But yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around. Ooh. I could feel the car move on that.